سامعني يا أرم؟
Yep. We are now live, Mohamed. We just wait a couple of minutes until people start to come in.
Sure.
So I'll start now. So hello everyone, and welcome for today's I4G Talks Tech for Good series. Our topic for today is role of impact investing in scaling up agri-tech innovations and building resilience in local food supply chain amid COVID-19. My name is Ara Fernezian, and I am the founder and the CEO of Stratasys and Innovate for Good, and I will be your host and moderator today. Before I introduce you to our special guest, I would like to thank all attendees coming from different time zones to join our conversation today. I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. You can use the chat feature to introduce yourself and talk to other attendees while the session. If you have any questions to the speaker, please use the Q&A, and we are going to take the questions if time allows. And then the session is streamed live on YouTube at Innovate for Good. We have received several questions that have been submitted by the audience. As a reminder, if you have a question again that you have not submitted yet, use the Q&A box, and we'll go through with as many questions as time allows. So today's session is structured as follows. We're going to have 30-minute conversation with our special guest, Mohamed, and the 20-minute we're going to have an audience engagement in the last on the Q&A, and 4:50 we expect to end the session. So without any further ado, I'm pleased to introduce to you the man of the hour, Mohamed Jouan Dhaheri, chairman of Rainmakers Capital Investment, who positively surprised us all amid the COVID-19 challenges with the launch, together with his partners Grow Group, a bold and game-changing venture to build in Abu Dhabi the world's largest indoor farm, which combines both vertical and flat farming and able to overcome challenges typically posed by dry climates such as we found here in the Emirates and other arid lands. So they have a plans to produce 10,000 tons of fresh produce per year, and on a plot which is 17.5 hectares and a cultivation area of 160,000 square meters. That's so inspiring, Mohamed. It's really like heartwarming a project when everyone like trying to say what we are going to do next, and you're saying we need to invest and we need to go further, but this time put impact and purpose ahead of you. So I'm very, very pleased, Mohamed. First of all, thank you for accepting to give us 60 minutes of your time. I know you're a very busy man. And recently, I know with this project, a lot of developments are happening. So I would like to welcome you here and tell us a bit more about you and about your background, investing on a personal level, and later on, maybe you can introduce us what is Rainmakers as well. Please, Mohamed.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me here with you today, and for all the participants to join. I'll share you a bit of my background. Maybe it helps shape up the exact well, sort of the exact same type of investment that I'm in today, and how I got this background from. So I've been always working with since 2012 in Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. And in Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, we look at different ways to operationally and as well the investment side of it to do a full-on due diligence and resiliency plan for all ADIA's investments. So the key word here is resiliency. Today, Rainmakers Capital, alongside with four of my three other partners, we since the beginning, or since inception, we've looked into so much the resiliency part in what does the government need and how can we help support those initiatives forward. This is the exact same. This is the plan since the beginning of Rainmakers, and we've been coming up to the Green Factory Emirates.
You call yourself a venture capital, or you are more a private equity? What is, I mean?
So we are a venture capital, yes. However, we look at very strategic opportunities, and maybe the first step that we've taken is the agriculture. Since actually we've been working on agriculture project since 2 years ago, and it only started 2 years ago when the first subsidy came in with water being used for farmers. So we really looked at this component first as a project that we might want to purposely drive it in the future to actually invest in it. But the time today has come for the urgency of it today.
Mohamed, I heard that there is a legacy in your family in agriculture, right? So you've been inspired by it, I guess, and agriculture is deep rooted in your culture.
That's right.
What about that?
Sure. So my grandfather Salim, he when the time was very arid in terms of agriculture, people and most of the people in Abu Dhabi and Al Ain only farmed or only grew dates, right? Palm trees and dates, and that's their source of income. But yet my grandfather Salim, he was actually the only person that has been growing wheat or grain, and that drove he became eventually one of wealthiest in Al Ain, since grain was not provided by anyone
because of agriculture.
Exactly.
Agriculture is
and it might run down through it. Yeah.
And now you're doing, I think, something similar now. Is like you're pushing the technology barrier now forward, and saying that I think if you put wealth, knowledge, and expertise and capital to solve food challenges, and I think what you're doing is an example like how technology and young-minded person like you and you following purpose, you can actually reach such similar, I think, outcomes.
So, 100%. I agree with you. Today, technology is a big enabler here. It allows us to look around you. We're in a desert country today. It's very arid to utilize anything about agriculture. If you compare this to other countries, they have a 12-month season to grow. We have rather 3 months or 4 months to grow something here. Okay. And technology enables us to really push that barrier forward. It helps secure food security when it's actually 90% of it has been imported. It's time for us to move this forward. It has to be.
Why you had this ambition to build the largest indoor farm? I mean, why the largest? I mean, why do you think it's important to have the largest or the smallest? And I mean, this is like a big aim, big dream. And what you're trying to achieve from this?
It's not about how large it is. It's we literally haven't thought about how large it is until we really got into the investment. And we found out it could be the third largest building in the world, not even the largest indoor farm. The point is to really produce enough capacity for securing our country at first. And it only came because of our innovative processes that we apply during farming. We need the scale. We need to scale much, and we need the capacity. I mean, it is only fair that deployment of our capital. The question should be the deployment of our capital is actually the question here.
Okay.
It's not so much about how big it is or small it is. Why I have invested this much is because we can utilize more. We can provide more. We can utilize more, and it's not only so much about the economical part, but it's actually a social benefit. It's a country benefit, and this is the most important part.
Are you aiming to make similar projects around the region or more in arid land around the world? So do you think the formula you're building now as a test bed about, yes, you can build resources in arid lands and deserts. Yes, you can solve hunger issues in other parts of the world. Yes, you can build resilience in local food supply chain. I mean, you're ticking a lot of boxes now, and I think the world will watch over now the next 1 year how this project will develop. And definitely your mission, in my view, is not only what you're doing in Abu Dhabi. I think it's a message to the world and to the entire planet here that yes, you can. And this is my big title today, and I wanna congratulate you for this. And
thank you so much. And to answer your question, actually, Ara, sorry,
please.
You were saying?
No, I'm saying, like, even during COVID, like, everybody's trying to protect their capital, and you're investing with your capital. So see the difference in the mindsets now, and this shows leadership in the way you're moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good question, actually, Ara. Today, yes, you'll see that economically, it's not maybe the best fit for you to enter as an investor, but someone has to go in. Someone has to influence the others to really push forward. I mean, our economy, it's not going to work without the private sector coming into it.
Absolutely.
We can't keep depending ourselves with the government. The government has done their job. They have laid down the path. We just need to enter it in a better way or a better fashion on purposely driven projects rather than just thinking capitalist. So yes, definitely, I'm looking at various projects today that could maybe scale it to other countries, such as Jordan, for example. I know Jordan, we have a very good situation there, a very good land. We could really scale that up there and help the bigger purpose.
Amazing.
And different other countries as well. It depends, yani, how much is the scalability that is needed in other countries.
Mohamed, what is the primary driver of your interest in impact? I mean, why impact? I mean, does this kind of investments, I'm talking more on technically, because a lot of people do not believe in impact investing. So we are an advocate for that. I mean, as you can see with my t-shirt, invest for good. So we're advocating that we need to see more impact-driven investments in here, sustainable investment as well, finances. So do you think there is a potential return for private investors like you? Especially you're in this kind of field.
Look, Ara, it's a very, very important strategy that you have to really embed into this country as well. The first and primary driver, Ara, is our food security issue here. We would secure that, make sure it's resilient enough, And that is the purpose of having to support the people of the UAE, our government, and the burden that it carries today. We need to really scale enough to support that, reduce the burden that they have today. That is the main driver. The second component is the social. How can you measure the social impact you can do by a sort of investment like that? And that's the second. Well, it should be in everyone's agenda that in impact investing, it has to be really a purpose that is underlying it. The purpose here, yes, the government, yes, the people, but it's also solving a bigger issue. It's solving a global issue that we are facing today. COVID gave us the urgency to embed today. It was on the study, it was always on the project plan, but the urgency came in to really lure us onto to actually launch Green Factory Emirates.
I mean, it's amazing. You started this 2 years ago, and we only saw it today. And you told me your aim was to make it next year, but COVID gave the urgency to push this forward. I mean,
Yes.
that's really amazing. But is there risks, Mohamed, in this kind of investment? Do you see risks in the future? I mean, it's a massive investment, and the yield and the return, it's a quite long term. I mean, for every investor us today, what do you tell them in this regard? Because everyone speaks about the risk and being a long term, and especially we are living in a quite an uncertain world. And I agree with you. Yeah. Food security comes an underlying factor that we need food to survive. So this is before anything else. So what do you say on the risk factor here, when it comes to
this kind of? Aram, this kind of impact investing, or this kind of scale of Green Factory Emirates, it's definitely, there's a lot of risks. But the strategy of impact investing, it's a sort of way that you have to plug in sort of the best approach to all to this investment. So, for example, if it requires innovation, if it requires technology, how can you be best at that technology and plug into that strategy? So for the 2 years, we've been actually really painting a strategy towards the best fit for our, not only the country, but the region. Impact investing has to be a way to really lure in the best of the best in order to make an impact. 100% there's going to be risks.
Compared to traditional investment, which one is more risky these days? Let's say in other forms of businesses. So how do you see it?
Look, it's definitely risky. It depends who's behind it. It depends what expertise do you have. It depends the technology, which is the only sort of tool that we have today. And obviously, and definitely is your passion. You have to have passion in what you do. You have to have a purpose for that.
And I think you assessed as well, Mohamed, in a country like UAE here, that the leadership here, they're always looking forward. They, as you said, they laid the path for all of us about thinking beyond. I mean, see this today, reaching out to space, building other ventures. You know, as you can see, I mean, not every, because governance plays a big role as well. The country we're living in and the regulations they are offering you. And I think this comes, I believe, as a blessing that you have such leadership encouraging private sector and pushing forward the agenda where private sector to look for. And I think you could be an example from the private sector level and being from the young generation as well about thinking beyond the traditional investment, which is
100%. I mean, thanks to our leadership, they have laid a very good ground for the private sector and especially family offices to jump in and create an opportunity such as that. But you have to have the right talent behind it. I mean, I'm talking about talent regardless how much money you have. It's what is actually the technology. So I'm really happy that Abu Dhabi is taking this step, being the incubator of all startups. And it's very important to do that, because what we lack here is being creative into, honestly, it's actually purpose. We don't.
Private sector investment as well. I mean, we see most investments are coming from the government today, and I hope that
that's right.
Sector like you investing in knowledge-based economies instead of looking only about. I mean, a startup ecosystem will only grow if we have enough private investors joining board, and this is going to be. Someone just asked me a question, Mohamed. I mean, I received this question like 6-7 times. Do you find it challenging aligning purpose and making profit in the same time? I mean, usually people, they either focus on purpose, they don't care about money, and other people, they simply care about money and they don't really care about purpose. If its purpose is good, but the goal is to make more returns. So how do you find it difficult for you? It's to have both aligned in the same time?
That's why it took us 2 years. But look, purpose and yes, economic benefit, it works hand in hand. You can't say you're going to be fully purposely driven and forget about the economical part or benefits from it. It's only going to be purposely driven because of the economically benefit you're going to get it from, and vice versa. So it works hand in hand rather than having it's so much. Yes, you have a purpose, and yes, you're going to gain from it. You shouldn't take that off your agenda.
So why now, Mohamed, investing in agri-tech sector? I mean, do you think it's there is a necessity? I mean, we have read a lot of reports earlier that it's quite challenging today, the agri-tech sector. I mean, it reached a boom in 2019, and we saw a bit of decline on a global scale, I'm talking. And maybe, is it do you think there is a difference between country to another about when there is a peak in investment, or how do you see it?
Definitely. Every country has its stage or business cycle, especially in farming. Different countries have different environments and different ability to really farm. Today we have one of really the most extreme arid places that could affect our farming techniques here. So 100%, the peak is today. We need more investments in agriculture, and the government is not going to leave you alone if you have the intention to really scale something up for the better good of the country. They're going to actually support you. They're not going to leave you there hanging. And
this is very important. You're right.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yes, they did give you a path to go on, but they're going to still take you all the way through there, and they're going to be a partner with you to really have a better country for everyone to be living in. It's not about it's not about the UAE nationals as well. It's everyone that lives in here. We need to secure that.
So this industry, what challenges you see ahead usually in the agri-tech industry? Did you part of your studies? I'm sure you witnessed a couple of challenges. I mean,
definitely the challenges is going to be it's definitely, look, it's very hard to be I'm not gonna say they're farmers. No, they're not. They're food technologists, I would say.
Or producers.
Yeah, because it's really engineering to do this job. It's not easy. This is one of the challenges. You need the expertise, you need the talent, you need the right innovation and the right technology.
What about job opportunities? I mean, there's a lot of, if you follow the media today, people, they say that Agritech is going to destroy a lot of jobs because farmers are not educated enough or skilled enough to use technology. And now that you're going to scale your production, you're going to rely more on technology and less on people.
Yeah.
Do you think you are creating jobs as well in other areas while some other parts you're not using? And And what do you say today to farmers? You're telling them, start investing in technology or skill your farms, go to the next level with it because it's better to reduce the water consumption, have better yield. I mean, what do you think? I mean, how do you look at this from a global scale about, do you think Agritech, if it continues like this, it will destroy jobs or create jobs?
No, definitely. No. It will not destroy jobs. Look, today we're being efficient with water efficiency costs. So for the likes of Green Factory Emirates, we've been very much sure our technology is going to be enabling us less usage of water. It's 95%. We've reached up to 95% of water efficiency. But it doesn't stop there. You could be innovative in the process you deploy your farming techniques. And we have been, and this is also very important. You need to grow a lot, and you need to do it fast. You need to do it quick. You need to be doing it efficiently. So it doesn't destroy jobs. It does not. It actually either helps those farmers skill up to maintain their farms, or as well to help them actually find solutions for their farms. It has, you can't, I can't imagine going back and starting to farm the old way of farming. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. You have to maintain it with technology.
Mohamed, so do you support the idea that we need to build more Agritech academies, let's say, about educating farmers, taking the game forward with them? Because
100%.
There's a lot of fear factor because some of them, they're not into tech, they're not into the future. They think that this is their job. Do you think that building academies and creating more skill-based platforms, working with them to develop together, and so it's quite linear instead of, is this something like you have in mind? Are you planning to, let's say in the future, having an academy to help them? Or I don't know, maybe I would encourage
you're right. You're right, Ara. Green Factory Emirates today, it was in its initial plan, it is an educational center as well. It does not only stop at farming, packaging, and producing and distributing it. It's also an academy to help support farmers to be more educated. It's important. We have the likes of Wageningen University. We have the likes of the Delphi University. We have also MIT that is going to be the research and lab focused to develop more efficient technology in Green Factory Emirates and in Acta especially. So yes, we have a research center, we have a lab center, we have a educational center. You have to have something that could support this, because at the end, you need to also find, as what Her Excellency Maryam Al-Dhaheri mentioned, that yes, okay, this is all good, but what do you do after? What do you do? How do you secure them jobs? And this is the most important. You get them educated, you get them up there. How do you secure them jobs? And this is where the country is moving. Believe it or not, it's actually very, very promising in that area. And I really only support people that are farming today. It's only going to be better tomorrow.
I see.
100%.
Jumping to our third segment of our discussion is about the startup ecosystem. This is somewhere that we love a lot. We discuss a lot, you and I, and this is something that we like to see more support. We would like to see more innovation coming from startups, and we like to see more VCs or angel investors into the impact space. So what do you look for in an Acta company? First, let me talk about their business stage. What is the most attractive for investors? So if there is a startup today, what do you look for? When you receive, I'm sure you're receiving a lot of pitches these days. What do you look for? Which one you say, okay, these guys are ticking the box. I think we filter them separately, and the rest, they need more work. So what do you actually look for?
Okay. Look, yes, we are in the tendering process today. we are looking at some companies, but we need them to be very much aligned with technology. Technology innovation is the most important. I will not be able to, and it has to be a niche out of the market. Yani, there's a lot of people that are in farming, but they forget the technology part so much. They're not technology based in so much in the farming or the Acta sector that you'll see a decline later on with them. They have to be innovative. They have to be technologically driven. But yet again, I'll say it again, it's the expertise that's driving this technology. It's talent. They have to have the talent. They have to have the passion for it. They have to have the understanding and the know-how to be able to facilitate that and to be able to really be creative in becoming more innovative.
What if they don't have the business expertise, Mohamed? So because what you said, you
That's
need
right.
startups to tap into the niche market. You need that to be tech-driven. You need them to be innovative, and you need them to have the expertise. So what if, let's say, someone has a farming expertise and a tech expertise, but they don't have the business expertise? I mean, to scale or to look at beyond that. I mean,
and
what do you say?
You're right. You're right. Actually, this is why venture capitalists come to the game.
Okay.
If you have a good technology, if you have a good innovative idea from seeding level, that's where venture capitals come. They come to help you operate and to help you manage the business. They need you to be focused on the technology, leave it or not. And they keep pushing for don't worry about the operations, don't worry about the management. We will do that for you.
Okay.
Just keep innovating. Just keep being creative in your technology. And you can scale it as much as you can. There's no limit to it. It's how much.
Earlier, that innovation is a journey, right? You need to keep innovating. So yes. It doesn't stop there. I mean, it's a journey.
100%. It's a journey in developing it. It's a journey to be refining the actual product that you serve. The service, if you die in being creative, the technology will die with you. You have to really push in being able to refine it, being able to be innovative. For the likes of Apple, for example, Apple are very good at refining their products. They're very good at being more innovative in every stage of their cycle. And you have to keep doing that. If it's 95% of water cost efficiency, tomorrow I'm hoping it's 100%. You never know. You just need to keep being creative. And that's the purpose.
If there is one advice you would give to an Agtech startup pitching for you, what you will tell? So today, if I bring you, let's say 10 startups in the Agtech business, they tick all the boxes you just named here. What is the one thing that you tell them today to win your heart as an investor? The one thing.
Okay, so for our region,
you spoke about the niche market, the tech, the innovative development that they have in mind, and the expertise and talents. Among these four, what is the only thing that you say, okay, this is the people that I'm going to work with?
Okay, it's going to be purpose. If you have the purpose to really drive your investment, it's going to be backed by technology. I'm going to say it again. I apologize, Arabas. If you want, yeah, I'm really insisting that it has to be technology. I mean, it has to be technology.
I mean, you insist on the purpose.
Exactly. I have to keep saying that it's the purpose that's going to really drive everything else. Look, the numbers, the management, everything is going to add up at the end. But you need the purpose. You need the purpose to drive this. You need the technology to really be embedded in this market. This is the only way. Yeah, you can really catch my attention, I would say.
I'm going to jump now to the Q&A session. We have already a lot of questions, and I'm going to start with the ones that we received earlier.
Sure.
One, I mean, there is a very a bit out of scope, a bit question, maybe we just to break the ice a bit. What are difficulties to reach the top?
Sorry, can you say that again?
what are the difficulties to reach the top? I mean,
Oh,
maybe
okay, that's
it's a bit out of box question a bit. I don't know what he meant with this, but I thought that it's good to talk about it.
yeah, fair question. I'm not sure. Look, you have to believe in what you do first. Forget about being in the top. Anyone could be in the top, but you have to believe in it. You have to believe in what you're doing first. Keep it in your back pocket. Yes, I want to become the best of the best, but you can't reach without really focusing yourself, fully dedicating yourself to really deploy what you have as a service. If you're telling me I want to become the best of the best, yeah, what do you have to serve? What do you have to service?
I mean, like you were just telling me earlier, is that for you, servicing your country comes on the top of your priorities, for example.
100%. This is the most important that I have. The only thing that I have is the ability to be happy in my own country, making my government support the government, support the people, and not only. It doesn't matter if it's nationals or foreigners. It's everyone in this country. We're only here today because we're able to secure a living here, but
Amazing.
we have to keep pushing for that.
Do you have any investment in West Africa, planning to go there to West Africa, or are you still not in your agenda?
West Africa, not so far. No, not so far, unless it's something really disruptive.
Okay, so I'm going to go very quickly on the questions. So we're going to have less than 1 minute each. How can we introduce indoor farming in schools? Do you think that this is something can happen?
Yes, it can. It can. It's actually a beautiful idea. You're not only educating them in schools, and you're serving their own purpose in becoming more dependent. Farming is not easy, Tara. It's very hard to farm a good quality of produce. You have to teach them. You have to. It's being self-dependent. This teaches you patience. This teaches you a lot of things, and this is a part. And that's a beautiful idea, actually, being part of an educational ecosystem.
Maybe you should introduce this part of your R&D.
Exactly. Yes. 100%. And that's why I'll say it again. I have in Green Factory Emirates an educational also driven component in it. It has to educate people.
There is one more question here. Do you look at gender equality when you are hiring your team? No. I mean, does this? Do you think you? No. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, do you look at that you should have more equal men and women hired in your company? I know that UAE it's quite very active in this field.
Yeah.
Is this something?
Look, gender equality is not. I love the fact that we have reached, and the government is really pushing forward for gender equality. The same. Look, to go back to that, actually, I ran for the Federal National Council, and the year that I've ran in, they really pretty much put both. So it used to be anyone that could join, but they made it sure and they made mandatory that there should be 4 women and 4 men in the Federal National Council. So I don't have a problem. Whoever has the passion is who's going to be working for it. There's no race, gender, and all that. It's who has the passion.
Amazing. Mohamed, do you think micro-urban farming as an alternative solution for big farms that require huge investment is a solution? I mean, today you're building a big farm. Again? But what do you think about micro-urban farming as an alternative solution? It's a question from Hani Lakel.
Micro-urban farming. I'm not so sure about what he meant by micro-urban. Hani, could you please be specific more?
I mean, is it more like the urban farming is like bringing a smaller farming, like the one that I have it in buildings, for example, or it can be smaller scale.
So
let's say.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean,
But
Um,
aren't they
it's
risky investment-wise? Because it has proven in many countries that it could be potentially not, it doesn't have a good return. As you were saying earlier, that you need scale in production to solve the problem. You cannot do it in a small.
but even no, look, being able to scale is because I'm able to give the same capital distribution and the same strategy, but you can also make an impact even at a small scale. Agriculture is needed everywhere today, everywhere, and you can't succeed without technology. Yes, you could do it small and be profitable. It's how much you produce. It's going to be only sold to the market. It's
So
as much as I can produce. The same thing.
The delta for you is always about how much you're producing at the end of the day. It's not whether you're.
It depends how much you put, how much you can scale it. As much as you can scale, it's as much as you can be profitable.
I agree with you. I mean, this is what most startups as well, they face the challenge that they're innovative, they have the passion, but they don't have what it takes to scale their venture. And it ends up being, so, and there is a
That's
question.
management, maybe.
This comes again on the Mohamed Hanan is saying, do you agree or disagree that innovative vertical and horizontal agriculture and mega greenhouse projects must be linked to energy generation investments?
Yes, I agree with that. Look, if you can be energy efficient, then look, for example, Green Factory Emirates is dependent on 27% of it is dependent on energy. If we can be utilized by that, by being more efficient, that drives the whole factor of profitable.
Okay.
Energy is a big component of agriculture.
I see.
And that thankfully, our government of Abu Dhabi, they provide subsidies for that. They provide lower pricing for agriculture.
What if there are no subsidies? What if you don't have subsidies?
Then you have to be more you have to be more technologically efficient to be able to cut costs and electricity.
And advance innovation with that.
100%.
How do you measure impact? Someone is asking, Gil, do you have a framework or index? Or is this something you're developing?
For what? Sorry, I didn't hear.
The impact. I know that the measurement that you have in place is about you told me about the link on the building resilience on security and how much percentage of those and the amount of jobs you're creating, or do you have a framework created to monitor the impact issue?
So yes, we're in the making of a framework today. Look, Aram, when we have put together this the whole strategy forward, we didn't take consideration of the largest indoor farm or the largest, how much impact are we going to make. It's for the purpose of what's best for the country, I will say, and that's that at first in my agenda. COVID-19 taught us a lesson, and it shifted our focus to have to secure and be resilient in agriculture. I mean, if this is one of the government's initiatives, then push it forward.
But I think what you were telling me earlier is about the CO2 emission, 40% you're aiming to drop it. Like this, the 95% of water consumption efficiency, and then you have about the water energy efficiency as well. I think this all can be considered, in my opinion, on the impact side of measuring it, because at the end,
of course, 100%.
Dramatically. And imagine we have many more farms like this, that it reduces the CO2 emission, we can be more resilient. So is the project integrated such as with aquaculture?
Sorry, can you ask me the question again?
Is the project integrated with aquaculture?
No, unfortunately, not in my plan. Unfortunately, there's no aquaculture in it. However, I did, telling you a small short, we did have a aquaculture company that we opened a long time ago, but nothing in the Green Factory Emirates agenda.
Okay, so I mean the questions are a lot, and I think some of them. There is a lot of question on the.
I'm happy to ask. Happy to answer as much.
Permaculture consulting. I've received 2 questions on that about organic farming. I think these are very quite technical questions. I think we're gonna apologize.
We'll try to answer them if as much as my knowledge.
So there is a question now: which government entity do you approach when you have an Agtech startup, and to what extent are they willing to support, and which department is specific? I mean, I can answer this. Is from Ahmed Nawais, our friend. I think there is Adio today, if I'm not wrong, and
that's right. And there's also Silal, and so Silal's objective is to scale agriculture in Abu Dhabi. There's ADAPSA is playing a big role in it as well, and they all sit under ADQ. Which is Abu Dhabi Holdings general initiative and agenda. The whole talk is about agriculture and Agtech facility.
But what we're promoting in here is how we can make private sector get involved in investing in Agtech startups.
Yes.
Because you know,
100%.
like I mean, Ahmed, you're listening and you know this very well. It's that for every startup to get funding, they need to meet 50, 60 investors at least, maybe 1 or 2 will at the end make it and write a check for them. And today, the only way we can accelerate this is by having more people like you, Ahmed and Mohamed, to invest from your own VCs and from your private equities into this entire field. Otherwise, as you were saying, we cannot only rely on the government, by the investment, government giving us all the foundation to achieve it. But yes, I mean, the more private sector is involved, the faster we accelerate.
This is the purpose of Rainmakers. This is why we have put together, me and our partners, a venture capitalist that has to play a big role in impact investing. This is why we need that today. The government, they did their job, thanks to them, but we need the private sector to really step up and serve the purpose of their economy, the purpose of technology, the purpose of a lot of things. The list doesn't stop. We need the private sector to really move up here today.
Before we close our session, Mohamed, we still have 3 minutes. What are your final tips you can tell us? Like 1 minute about your project. What are your timelines today? Where do you expect the first?
Sure.
What are your timelines today? There is a question.
Sure. So we're looking forward on being operating by Expo 2021. So in October, Green Fact, yes, next year exactly. So we need to be we're going to be operated by then to also play a big role in Expo. But we also this is only going to be phase 1. There's going to be 7 phases into this whole project because of its scale.
How long is
we needed?
What's the duration of the project? How many years?
It's in the range of 3 years, I would say. It depends how fast we could really help. First of all, produce a lot. In the first phase, it's going to be 1,000 tons of produce, and by the end phase of 7, it's going to be 10,000 tons of produce.
Right.
So are you still looking demand and supply.
Are you looking for technology partners with you, or you have the entire ecosystem built already? We do have the whole ecosystem of technology built in, but it doesn't stop us from listening to different and new ideas to embed into Green Factory Emirates. For the last joiner into this Green Factory Emirates was the likes of MIT. MIT's research lab was a big role for us to have and to help develop more technology. I mean, you can't stop in any specific technology that you look for. Anything that's purposefully doing becoming more efficient in your service,
I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to listen to more.
Is it safe to say that Rainmakers Capital, you invest in impact-driven startups? Or you don't?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, 100%.
Okay.
Impact-driven, 100%.
Because we don't have many initiatives on the impact space yet. I mean, we have some of, like Ma'an, it's an amazing initiative in Abu Dhabi to push forward social enterprise.
But that's a good one. That's a good one. Ara, to talk to you about Ma'an. This is what is amazing during the COVID. It's the private sector that came together to really support the government, support the deploying cash and assets to help and support. This is why it's beautiful that family offices actually came together. Yes, we need to support now. We need to stand up. It's a great initiative. I only salute them for that. Sarah.
We have today, let's say, we have Masdar as well, or Catalyst and Masdar, which as well they invest in renewable energy and to bring
100%. Yes,
so
yes.
It's so beautiful. I mean, to see like we're starting to see evolving into becoming more like a startup-driven, impact-driven nation here.
Yes, yes.
Something.
And I only want to see it even go further and faster. Honestly, we have the perfect ecosystem to make an impact in every sort of sector, in the health, in the agriculture, in education, for the likes. We can be that nation. We have the right setup. We just need the private sector to really be influenced and get up.
1 minute. What do you say to every single private investor in Abu Dhabi and UAE and beyond about moving forward in investing in startups and knowledge-based technologies, or to push them?
I can only say to them, honestly, this is the time. We need to step up. We need to rise together. We need to support one another in our market. And they are the only people that is going to drive our economy. The government has done their job, and the private sector has to get up now. They have to really, I'm not saying we have to jointly be together into pushing our economy further. This is the time. We should be rising together today.
Thank you so much, Mohamed, for the time. Thank you for everyone who joined us from all over the world. We wish you all the success, Mohamed, and everyone who is by purpose like you. And we hope to see you all again in our upcoming session. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.